problem, I'm trying to clean this up, but let me just tell the truth to shame the devil. My, my grandmother was sexually molested by her stepfather, okay?
Oh man.
And because of that, she had a fear for me. Now, I want to be clear because I don't want nobody to go take no lies nowhere about nothing about my stepfather, because I'll take that thing personal about my stepdaddy. Because I love my stepdaddy for real. Like, please
Yeah.
don't come for him.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
didn't have that spirit. He was never that type
Yeah.
of man. But that was my grandmother's insecurities that played
Her
out,
fear.
right? Her fear that played out. And so she chose to keep me with her. And that is how I ended up with her even before my mother died. So, as strange as it may sound, my grandmother was raising me while my mother was still living. So,
Yeah.
I knew my grandmother very intimate, and I was beginning to know my mother intimate because there are still some gray areas. There are still some questions, but I didn't even realize that I would later learn that I suffered from abandonment issues. And
Mm.
I can even say that that didn't just contribute from my father, that contributed because every girl needs her mother. It's not a want. Every girl
Yeah.
needs her
Yeah.
mother. So my grandmother obviously did the best she could. And as a matter of fact, she over delivered in some areas. And she over delivered so much that she tried to pacify me with things to offset for what I didn't have, which was my mother and
She
my.
overcompensated.
She tried to overcompensate, but it hurt me as I got older. It hurt me deeply as I got older because it became a codependency that I would
Mm.
later find out that I had. And a lot of times as adults, I'm sure we struggle with codependency and don't even know how to properly identify
Yeah.
it.
That's another thing. All of the scenarios that we encounter, I wish I would have had the language for it all. You know, like you were
Absolutely.
talking about, hey, Miss Zoe, I saw us, she said, good evening, family. I didn't
Hey,
want to miss
Keela.
you out. And I'm seeing seeing people post in the comments, but absolutely, you know, you can get over a thing once you have identified a thing and you can name a thing,
Right.
you know? So you're talking about abandonment, you're talking about codependency. If we had that language so that we at least, at the very least, we could get it in an encyclopedia because, Google wasn't around back then.
Right. That
Get an
part.
encyclopedia and look up what that means, what that truly means,
Right.
and how that affects so many aspects of your life, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So, yeah, having the language to identify when you're even, I follow these people on Instagram and YouTube, Kev on Stage.
Mm.
He and his wife, Melissa Fredericks. His name is really Kevin Fredericks, but he goes by his stage name, Kev on Stage.
Okay.
And they had a podcast called the Love Hour Podcast. And on there, one time, Melissa was talking about, a lot of times we only look at like maybe two or three emotions,
Right.
right? What are those emotions we always think about? We think about happy,
Sad,
sad,
anxious.
mad.
Yeah.
Anxious was just anxious is really like a newer thing now,
Right. We didn't even know how to
When
place
people
that then. We didn't. That's facts.
no,
That's facts.
when you see somebody who have like an anxiety disorder or something like that, we'll say that person got nerve problems, right? In our culture, in our community, come on, let's
It's
talk
true.
about it. That's what we say.
It's true.
Instead of just saying that person has anxiety disorder or that, and even God forbid we were to say somebody has a mental disorder,
Oh, you better
because
not.
this is
Mm-mm.
right,
No.
right.
No.
So all of that. So if the only emotions that you can feel is happy, sad, or mad, what about all the other myriad of emotions that you can have? So she said she took it upon herself, and she got this from somebody else, but I'm getting it from her, Melissa Fredericks, on Love Our podcast. She was talking about she got an emotions wheel, and
Wow.
she would look at whenever she was feeling something, in her marriage, she would go to that emotional wheel. It's a physical thing that
Right.
she was able to copy down.
Right.
And she would say, what am I feeling? Am I feeling abandoned? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling tired? Am I feeling exhausted? Am I feeling mad? Am I feeling happy?
Come
Am I
on.
feeling joyful? There's so many emotions that we just don't even identify with. That she said she's studying her emotional wheel. Listen, that resonated so much with me because there's lots of things that we all go through, especially as women, as we go through all the seasons of our lives,
Right.
and we just don't have the language for it. So I love that point of you wish you would have known, you wish you would have had the language to identify those different emotions, those different even just scenarios that you were in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you another thing I wish I had. I wish I had a outside of the house support system. Like, because sometimes when you're in that situation, those that are in the circumference of what's happening, they can't see what's really happening for what it's really worth because they're in that
Mm,
situation. So when I look back at it in hindsight, I very much so wish that I had outside support. Um,
yeah,
to help usher me into my feelings. Now there was a young lady that was pretty close to yeah, that was pretty close to me growing up. She was older than me and I looked at her like a big sister. But now, and I don't even know why God took me here, but even then, I'm sure she probably was going through some emotions where she couldn't really cater to me the way she needed to because now I understand she had a gifting and she was dealing with her own emotions and dealing with that, trying to come into her fullness of her becoming into that. So she didn't have time to nurture me. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that it was her responsibility, but it is important to have somebody that can be close enough in proximity to see when something is off, because I was labeled as angry growing up. I
yeah.
was labeled as um oh God, it's
And
so
why
many.
wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be angry? Why would like that's just wouldn't that be a normal thing to
Come
say?
on,
I'm
come on.
angry because my mom died when I was young. I'm angry because I didn't get a chance to have and experience the fullness of who she was because I lost her at such a young age. Like, why wouldn't you be angry about that?
Well,
But people
obviously,
will have you believe that you are not supposed to feel that. But that's a true and valid emotion that you could feel.
absolutely, and nobody was qualifiable in my space to identify it. Family and friends and anybody else in between, I was just labeled. It was who I was. But now, in hindsight, in my healing stage, I have people to come to me and say to me, "Oh, I knew you was special. I knew you was different.
Oh,
I knew you was gifted. I knew you was anointed." Where were y'all when I
yeah,
was processing all of this? Like, where were y'all at when all that was unfolding, when I didn't even have the sense enough to process it and to understand it? Where were y'all then?
yeah.
So it's important to your connections. It's important to have the right people connected to you, because I have heard this more times than enough. Some people are just not qualified to handle you.
And let's stay right there. Talking about qualifying or qualifications or being qualified. You know, sometimes we authorize people who are not qualified for certain things,
Come on, come
and
on,
that's family included,
talk about it.
you know? And this is one of the things that, Dr. T was talking about, in our culture, we don't get a lot of therapy. And what we really need is a lot more therapy in our communities. And you're talking about having a connection, somebody outside support. The first thing that came through my mind when you said that was therapy, with a therapist.
But you know
right?
what they do? I'm gonna tell you what they do. I'm gonna tell you what they do. And it's not everybody. I'm just talking about a select people right now. They would go to their church pastor for counsel, and the pastor, and I'm not talking all pastors, because some do have a psychology or, outside of a pastoral counsel ability. You need to sit down with a clinician, because everything is not spiritual.
Mm. Mm.
Everything is
Yes,
not
pray,
spiritual.
but do some other things too. And people don't. I hope people catch that. Like, you authorizing people who are not qualified. Like, how you gonna go talk to your pastor about finances when your pastor?
Come on.
You see what Miss O said?
Look, killer. You hit the nail
Let's
clean on the
kill her.
head. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't want no pastor or no therapist that don't have a therapist. Hello. Because you didn't get all these people emotions. These people are weighing you down with their problems. That every therapist needs a therapist. I don't care who you is. My mentor is a psychologist, and I guarantee you she has counsel that she seeks. Everybody needs a therapist. There's nobody exempt from that. And if
Yeah.
you think you're too high mighty, if you think you're too high mighty for therapy, guess what? I thank God for every time I go sit on that couch. A bit of me grows, a bit of me
Yes, sir.
becomes bolder in what I know, what I say, how I feel, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. I was thinking because honestly, I was thinking because my daughter just turned 13 and, she's in middle school. And I was thinking about all the things that she's getting ready to experience going into high school. I was honestly thinking about getting her a therapist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, and this is taking me to the qualified conversation.
Okay.
Sometimes we as parents too think that, listen, Keela, I did not know that was you. I was sitting here talking about Miss Zoe, not knowing that Zoe Hagel, that's you, Keela. Girl, hey girl.
I knew it
And
was, yeah,
then
I knew it
Miss
was Keila.
Jones said her sister cannot comment. Celestine Cunningham, she's on, but she
It
can't
might be
comment.
set up on how I have something set up here, but I'm scared to go out, because if I go out, we may lose each other.
Yeah, don't. Um, being I was talking about being qualified. So,
Qualified.
yeah. So you here in North Carolina, I think also in South Carolina, the kids start taking EOGs or end of grade testing in third grade.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband and I were very nervous for our daughter to enter third grade because we were thinking, okay, this is like where this is where it really counts, right?
Right.
And so, when we would do homework and things like that, we're both smart people. My husband has a business degree from South Carolina State,
Absolutely.
and I have all of my certifications and things, I went to College of Charleston, all
Right.
that. So we're very smart people, but to teach it to somebody else is a different skill. And what COVID has taught us is that just because you're a smart person, just because you're a parent, does not mean you are qualified to teach your kid a thing.
Come on.
You
Talk to
can be
me.
a smart person, but that doesn't mean that you can teach. And how many of us have gone to jobs or had positions where it was somebody else's responsibility to train us, and that person, whatever, how their training, their teaching technique, their training style wasn't effective for you because maybe you have a different learning style.
Right.
Like teaching styles need to be met up with learning styles.
And
And that's why a lot of the new age teachers, they have different. I think there's a little bit of a delay, Rashanda, too, because I see you trying to say something.
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but